Hey guys, welcome back to the Kool-Aid Podcast. Welcome back to episode 39. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the UCL and the Europa League draw. We're going to be giving our thoughts on the matches. We're also going to be talking on the recent biography that was released about Messi. It gave some new details into Messi's exit into Barcelona and also his relationship with Laporta. After that, lastly, we're going to be touching upon the Osasuna game tomorrow. Luckily, Real Madrid dropped points today against Real Vallecano, and this is a huge opportunity for us to basically widen that gap at the top. But let me introduce my co-hosts, Alvaro and Alex.
Hey guys, what's
Yo,
up?
yo,
All right, guys. First topic of the day. Uh, big games in the UCL. In the UCL, we saw some good matches. What is your go-to match that you're super excited to watch? Let me
I
pull it up right now.
probably, I probably have to say Madrid and Liverpool.
Madrid and Liverpool.
Yeah, that's just such a classic match. I mean, usually it's Madrid beating Liverpool, um, but yeah, I mean it's for sure gonna be an interesting match. Another one that I see that I'm very excited for is PSG and Bayern. We tend to get these right every couple UCLs. We see this matchup, and it's honestly very interesting because they're both very solid teams all around. And PSG, I would say, are in much better form than they were last year around this time in the competition. So assuming everyone is healthy by the time the first game comes around for both teams, I would say the odds are maybe stacking a little bit more in PSG's favor just because they do have Messi. And in regards to the Madrid and Liverpool game, I would actually say I will still bet more money on Madrid just because Liverpool have had a terrible form this season.
Well, yeah. Well, these are the games right here. It's going to be Leipzig versus Manchester City. We're going to
Mm.
have Club Brugge versus Benfica. We're going to have Liverpool versus Real Madrid. That's a huge blockbuster game. The storyline surrounding that from last season and the season before, you know how Salah basically said like, "Yo, we're going to be coming after Real and Real like getting the win over them in both games." You're also going to see Milan versus Tottenham. That's going to be a very interesting game just to see how Conte does. Napoli and Frankfurt, both exciting teams. Dortmund and Chelsea as well. Inter and Porto, and another blockbuster game. PSG versus Bayern Munich. Benfica did their job. They created an upset. They topped the group, and they left PSG in second. And unfortunately, I believe they got the toughest team of the tournament with Bayern Munich. So these are the games. My standout game that I'm gonna be definitely looking forward to is that PSG versus Bayern game. I think that game it can go either way. It depends, just like how the teams come into the game, because when you think about it, that trio up front with Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe, that it's if on their day and if they click, it's going to be very hard for anyone to stop them.
Mm.
It's almost going to be impossible. But also Liverpool versus Real Madrid, that's going to be a huge game.
Yeah, and I think to be honest, I feel like compared to other UCL seasons, this seems to be a like it's gonna be a very exciting and interesting one. Yes, we do see some of the classic big matches, but we're also seeing a lot of promising smaller teams living up to expectations that I don't think most of us predicted. I mean, we see the way Club Brugge has been playing,
Yeah.
which to me has been surprising. Napoli, like we've said before, they've had a great revival this season, and they just been playing phenomenal. Um, we see also something similar with excuse me, with Salzburg. I was saying, I mean, not Salzburg. With Leipzig.
Okay.
And I would also say we see a similar, um, a similar like underdog type of mentality with teams like Porto, Porto and Benfica. I mean, they're always up there in the competition. They play well, but we never. I don't think I've seen them this strong in a while.
Okay. I don't know. What were your thoughts on the games?
I think that looking at the teams heading into the round 16, I feel like Napoli is, like I was saying, they're a very solid team. People who thought that after losing Kolobali and Insigne, they would discombobulate, and that didn't happen. We see them. A lot of people see them as dark horse for the UCL. I don't see it that way, but we've seen crazier things before.
Hmm.
Um, and looking at matchups, that Madrid Liverpool game, that's gonna be interesting. I think Liverpool wants revenge. They've been playing good. They've been playing good football. Madrid's Madrid. That should be an interesting match. And from then on, I mean, the rest are good matches. There's not really much to say. PSG, Bayern. We all get the feeling that that Bayern should be able to get that win just because they're a team that plays more united and with more chemistry. But who knows?
Yeah.
And for the rest of the matches, there's really no like aside from Salzburg and Man City, there's really no like lopsided matchup. So
Yeah, and
Okay.
a game that I think has flown on a lot of people's radars too is the Spurs and AC Milan teams.
That is going to be an interesting matchup.
Because these teams, yeah, they may not be the strongest in the competition and maybe not the most likely to win it, but
There,
regardless, they're both very solid teams, and if either one makes a forward, they're going to be a pain for whoever plays them in the quarters.
yeah, I actually believe they're evenly matched. But let's actually start with the first game, and then we're going to go down, and we're each going to give our quick thoughts. Looking at the RB Leipzig versus Manchester City game. Now, RB Leipzig, they played very well against Real Madrid in the group stage. You saw they beat them in Germany in their home stadium. They gave a very tough game to Real Madrid, but we're going to see after how Manchester City go up against RB Leipzig, because Manchester City comes into that game as an overwhelming favorite. With Haaland, you think that this would be a rout, and it would be very hard to see an upset. But I definitely see Manchester City going through in this game.
For sure, it should be a relatively comfortable win for them. Like we said, this is the strongest I've ever seen Manchester City, so no surprise if they do go through here.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
yeah, no,
I have
that's
Manchester City going through. But I don't believe it's going to be comfortable. I think RB Leipzig is going to give Manchester City a tough run, especially at their home stadium. But now moving into Club Brugge and Benfica, both of these teams were very good in the group stage. Benfica topping their group, and Club Brugge doing an amazing job in the group stage, and as well as having Ferran Dukla, an ex-Barca player who was, I believe he was sold just recently. He's been performing very well, and I think Benfica was awarded. They don't have they have a favorable draw, and this is what you get for topping your group.
For sure, and I think, I mean, it's going to be a pretty interesting match because both teams, they're very scrappy, very strong teams that will try to get anything they can. So again, it will be a very interesting, very physical match. But I do see Benfica going through just because of how insanely well they've been playing.
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, we know we see that Benfica has been here before. Brugge, they're a young team. They're new to this, not new to this, but they're more inexperienced than Benfica. And if we have seen the last couple of UCL seasons, we see that Benfica they've always been a nice dark horse to at least maybe not win it all, but to
Mhm.
give some teams a run for their money. So I do think that Benfica takes this one.
Yeah, and on top of that, we saw last season how Benfica knocked Barcelona out of the Champions League. They put Juventus in the Europa League. So Benfica are definitely a tough team, and I actually have them as my dark horse for the entire tournament, and I really hope they go through. But now moving on to the first the big blockbuster game, Liverpool versus Real Madrid. We talked about this briefly, but Real Madrid, it's a UCL, it's their bread and butter, versus Liverpool. They're not in the greatest of form, but they can always lean back on Anfield. And who knows? They come in February, both teams can be coming into completely different forms, and the result might vary.
Yeah, I think this is a matter of the team overall being informed because if Liverpool is, I could see them winning. But it's Madrid, like we said. They're very experienced in this competition, and they've been playing way better than Liverpool has. So I think it's just a matter of who's more informed at this point.
Yeah, and the player that I actually want to like keep my eye out for, specifically on that game, is Mohamed Salah, because Mohamed Salah has tweeted some very controversial things, um, and he's been made fun of mostly by
Yeah,
Real
I
Madrid
mean, he
fans.
still has to show up for what he said.
Yeah, exactly. When you say like, "Hey, we're gonna have revenge," and losing both finals is just like, come on. And then like AC Milan, Spurs, both of these teams can go far in the tournament, and I think they're evenly matched. I think it can go either way, and it just depends who's injured. Um,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
it's
And this
gonna be a
this
good
is
game.
something that I've spoken about before. Definitely, especially for the Spurs side, which is more dependent on individual performances. Um, I think for sure if Spurs have Kulusevski, Son, and Kane, and Richarlison, because you can bench either one or move them around. If they have that attack, they're unstoppable offensively.
Is Son gonna be fit for the World Cup?
Well, as of now, yes, he will have to play with a mask, is what is being said.
Oh, he's
The
gonna have to play
latest
with
I
the
read,
mask.
he's still eligible. He could still play.
Okay, okay, yeah, because he's been a major doubt so far.
Mm.
Um, but
But yeah, otherwise,
well,
if Spurs have a key player injured, they're not going through. It hurts to say as a fan, but the way they've been playing, I don't think
mhm.
they'd be going through
Yeah,
if they have injury.
they're pretty ass.
Yeah.
Nah, yeah, I do think that should be a fun match. It should be one that people kind of like overlook, but it is one I do believe that the Spurs should be able to take this. Um, even if they have someone like Son or whoever, a key player that's not Kane. If they have a key player that's not Kane, that's out. I feel like they have enough depth to at least maneuver around maybe a one nil at home and then a tie on the road. I still feel like even if it's a very close matchup, I do think that the Spurs end up taking that one.
Okay, okay. It can go either way. But Napoli and
But
Eintracht Frankfurt.
one more
Uh,
point, I will say this:
what happened?
if they play with a lack of urgency that they play with in this group stage, I do think that Milan takes it.
That's a very good
For
point.
sure.
That's a very good point.
Looking at Frankfurt and Napoli, as good as Frankfurt has played, I have to give this to Napoli. They're so strong right now.
They beat Liverpool to top their group. They've been on fantastic form. I believe, along with PSG, they're the only unbeaten team in the top five leagues.
Wow.
So exactly, that's like very impressive that they were able to do that. And they've been on amazing form, very good in the Serie A. They've been building a very solid team. And Eintracht Frankfurt, they were in a group with Spurs, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yes. And so it's gonna be very tough to see for Eintracht Frankfurt to beat Napoli when they're in such great form. But I definitely see Napoli. I was a little bit torn between Benfica or Napoli to see who would be my dark horse for this tournament.
Yeah, for me, it has to be Napoli for sure.
Napoli.
It's definitely one of the stronger teams, and yeah, I just see them doing more in the competition than Benfica. But again, it's very close, and we just have to see.
Okay, okay. Um, Moving on to like a lot of people haven't been talking about this game, but Borussia Dortmund versus Chelsea. Now, Chelsea has not been in that great of a form, and on top of their squad in general isn't that great. They've been, and this is surprising because they spent, I believe, this was 280 million pounds last summer, and the performances that we're seeing, it's nowhere near that level. I believe the recruitment has been poor, and Borussia Dortmund they gave Manchester City a run for their money, and a player such as Jude Bellingham is such important for Borussia Dortmund. I actually see Borussia Dortmund going through. But at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea managed just to show their pedigree in this competition.
I mean, yes, But at the same time, I know Chelsea haven't been great, but I don't know. This Dortmund team doesn't give me as much confidence as it did when they had Haaland, for obvious reasons.
Hmm.
But even though Chelsea has been weaker this season than they've been before, I still see Chelsea getting there. I feel like they're still figuring things out with Potter, and there's new players that are getting adjusted to the team, the likes of Aubameyang. So I think if you give them up to February, I think they'll be good.
Okay, okay, we'll see, and we'll definitely see what January transfers or signings they make, because that's going to be very important for Chelsea. But we're moving on to Inter versus Porto. Now, I think Inter got a very favorable draw here. They could have been matched up against some very big boys, such as Manchester City, such as Real, and luckily they managed to avoid basically everyone, and they got a very favorable draw in Porto. Um, what are your thoughts on this game?
Well, I mean, I would say here Inter are favorites to win it, but you can't count Porto out. They've been playing very well too. So, I think this game is more of a 50-50 than anything. Both teams are solid. They play different styles, but I think ultimately, um, if they can hold the counterattacks, I would say Porto will win it. But if they're not wise on defense, Inter Milan will punish them.
I think this game is determined on like what Inter shows up for this tie. Is it the Inter in the Serie A which hasn't been performing very well, or is it the Inter that knocked us out of the Champions League?
Mm.
Well, we're gonna have to see which Inter shows up, and I think that basically decides the tie. Now, moving on to the final game of the round of 16 draw, we have PSG and Bayern Munich. Now, this is a complete 50-50 for me. I believe that both of these teams are favorites for this competition, and this is going to be a very exciting game for the neutral. You have basically the revenge for the UCL final in which they lost, and Bayern Munich basically won the trophy. But it's going to be a very exciting game.
This is what I said initially when we started talking about this. I personally, I believe that Bayern gets away with this. I do
Bayern goes
think
through.
I, even though I'm rooting, I think we're all rooting a little bit for PSG for Messi,
Right.
but um, I would like to see PSG advance and have some deeper UCL matches. We haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, but in the last 3 years, PSG have gotten Barcelona in the round of 16, Real Madrid in the year before, and this year they got Bayern. So
Yeah,
like,
they can catch a break, but
yeah.
I do think that I'm getting the hunch that Bayern is the one that takes this, but I would like to see PSG advance. So I'm more like 55-45, 60-40 favoring Bayern.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay. I
Yeah.
I think if PSG make defensive reinforcements, if they bring in defensive reinforcements and they make those January signings in the defense, they can. And if they shore that up, I think they have a much better chance because so far Benfica gave them a big run for their money, and their defense hasn't been great lately. And against Bayern Munich, they're going to be exposed. They're going to be basically cut open. And in the Allianz Arena going away, I think that's going to be the second leg. You're going to have to get performance in the Parc des Princes if you want to make it through the next round.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. But that was guys. That was it for the a reaction to the UCL draw. Now moving on to Barcelona. Barcelona have basically they were drawn the toughest team, I believe, in the whole Europa League. This is how the draw finished up. Let me share my screen real quick. Once again. But as you see, Barcelona matched up with Manchester United. This game is humongous. Just because like both of these teams, you would think this is like a Champions League game, but no, it's in the Europa League. Like it's amazing how both of these teams have like fallen off in the past couple of years. Imagine telling someone in 2010, 2011 that both of these teams would be playing in the Europa.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mighty have fallen.
Well, I mean, I think it's definitely an interesting Europa League draw. We see great historic teams, the likes of Ajax, Barca, Manchester United, Juventus. We see teams like that there, and it's a bit upsetting because they're very rich clubs, very famous, very financially strong, even though they've had their problems. But ultimately, I think it'll be interesting. I think Barca beats United because United are and not in good form. They're very inconsistent.
They just lost to Aston Villa, 3-1 away from home.
Yeah, Juventus should win it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we don't have to go into the other games. We could just give our reaction to the Barcelona and Manchester United,
Yeah.
because like the other games, we first have to beat Manchester United to be worried about the other games. Lisandro Martinez isn't going to be available for that game in the Camp Nou. I don't know if we're going to be playing home or away first. I would much rather play away first and like bring it back into the Camp Nou. But I believe since we crash out of the Champions League, we're going to be the one playing away for that second leg, and that means we're going to have to get we're basically going to have to get the job done in the first leg.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't see a problem. I think we should be united. They're not that consistent right now, and they honestly shouldn't be that big of a problem.
I believe both of these teams like basically mirror each other. Problems behind the scenes. They're both in like a rebuilding process in the transition. And I do believe that Barcelona is a little bit further down the road, and this is going to be a good game to test where we're at, because this is a game, even though that we're in the Europa League, this is a game that we definitely want to win, because we don't want to give Manchester United fans more ammo to basically fire at us. It's going to be a very interesting game, and I think this is very good because if we were playing, for example, against a Rennes or a PSV, I don't think the attendance in the Camp Nou would be very high. I don't think the players would be that motivated. But because it's Manchester United, I definitely see that the team is going to be more up for it. I don't think that should be the case. I believe that Barcelona should be going out there and be professional in every single game.
For sure, and it's a criticism that they've had about Barca in the past, where they haven't shown up when it matters, and they haven't, they're taking matches as if they're not that important. And we should obviously treat every game like a final. I know it doesn't happen, but the players should have the most urgency, and the coaches as well, Xavi in this case. So we'll just have to see. I really hope the fans do show up and give the team the encouragement they need. But ultimately, I see us going through here.
Yeah, I definitely see us going through as well. It's going to be I really hope that Ronald Araujo and Koundé are in for this game, just because like when you saw Manchester United play against Manchester City, they played in that low block and they were trying to hit them on the counter. And I think that's exactly what Manchester United is going to try to do in this occasion. So Barcelona need Araujo and Koundé to combat the pace of, for example, of Anthony or Marcus or Marcus Rashford, or Martial if he plays.
Imagine how funny it would have been if Messi was still in Barca, and it was Messi, Ronaldo, with a Europa League playoffs.
And guys, we haven't even mentioned the Ronaldo factor. We haven't even mentioned him. Guys, Ronaldo has been playing awful so far in these past couple of games. He's been dropping disaster class after disaster class. I really hope he does start the game against Barcelona, just because whenever he does, Manchester United don't manage to win. So I really hope that goes in our favors.
And hey, man, he has to pick it up because he's not doing himself any favors right now the way he's performing, and people are gonna say, "Oh, tougher league," and we know who they're comparing him to.
Yeah, but still, you're in the Europa League. You're in the Europa League, and you can't score against like Ammonia.
You have to score, and that is your singular job, and what made you great. You have to score. So,
yeah. But everyone's in agreement. Barcelona goes through.
Yeah. They're more united. They're for the most part they're healthier, and that midfield is gonna move the ball way quicker than the Man U midfield. So
yeah. Well, we're definitely going to be giving more reaction to that game as it gets closer. But now moving away from the Champions League and the Europa League, there was a recent biography released about Lionel Messi, and some basically went into detail about Messi's exit away from Barcelona, and the points that you could basically take. Like this is all. I'm gonna find the Twitter page where you guys are more than welcome to basically catch up. Um, but what are your takeaways from reading the basically like the series of tweets to the Twitter thread?
I mean, it was it was a two-sided story. People thought that was Messi side getting greedy, and while I never really believed that side of the story, people believed it. Another side was the Laporta factor, and we do see that if any of you want to read that, go ahead. Um, I mean, it's true that the club was in a financial crisis, but as it is mentioned in this read, Messi cut 75% of his wages, so
Yeah,
he was willing
I mean,
to
Messi
get
basically did
paid.
everything.
He was willing to get paid like 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 a normal footballer. He used to stay at Barca, and I'm sorry, but I don't give a shit how financially unstable your club is. You cannot let go of Messi like that, and it happened. And we saw that Laporta had a very last minute change of heart, which really made him look bad. And that's definitely why we're seeing so many rumors of Barca trying to get Messi back. I feel like Laporta is trying to clean up his mistake as
Yeah,
soon as possible, and whether that happens or not, that really won't change what happened. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah, to be honest with you, this whole news kind of felt like a slap to the face as a Barca fan because if there's something that we've been missing with this story and recently with Barcelona is like a sense of transparency, like being honest with the fans, telling them how things are. Obviously, a club can be disclosing all of its problems and all of the things it's going through, but when you're dealing with a player who's not just a player but an idol to so many people and someone who's a club legend, when you're dealing with someone like that, I feel like more honesty would be appreciated. And to be fair, like Alvaro said, the image that was painted of Messi was a very greedy, very insincere one. And not that Messi cares. He still loves the club, and obviously Barcelona didn't say this outright, but they didn't really try to stop people from thinking that way or try to clarify things. And like Alvaro said, I understand Barca went through their financial troubles, but I don't personally, although I understand that Laporta did this for the good of the team at the end of the day, because you can't be having a player like Messi on even on whatever wages they are and hoping to get a rebuild. Like I get it, like it doesn't
no,
happen
it
overnight.
was basically like it was impossible to register him like from the
Of
get
course,
go.
no, no.
It was
I
impossible.
I understand. Like I understand it was inevitable. The only part that doesn't sit well with me is that until the last minute, it seemed like things were gonna go through, and
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that right there, that thing about until last minute, that I can put money on it. I guarantee that Messi would have cried in that farewell either way, whether he knew it a year ahead or it's happened last minute.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you even further that he cried those tears 20 times harder because
Well, when he actually found out.
dude, that's like you getting broken up 5 minutes after seeing your girl.
Yeah.
It's out of nowhere. It wasn't expected whatsoever, and he literally played with that team when he was what 13 years old.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
he
and
was
the
a kid.
and the worst thing about it was that Laporta didn't tell Messi anything until the final day, and because of that, Messi rejected offers, for example, like Manchester City. Imagine Messi playing for Manchester City. Imagine this: Messi and De Bruyne passing the ball to Messi, Messi passing the ball to Haaland. Imagine having the two best passers in the world feeding Haaland. Manchester City would be a cheat code. It would be like
Plus you have players,
that is it. Shut up the shop. That's it. Just give
and
it
that's the
to
thing.
Manchester
You
City.
you have you have players the likes of Foden, Guandogan, Rodri. You have such quality players in that team.
Yeah, it would make Manchester City unstoppable. But unfortunately, Messi closed the door on Manchester City and like a whole bunch of other teams saying, "Hey, he was there at Barcelona," but on the final day, he was like, "I was like betrayed." And but my takeaways from this is that Laporta should have done. He was completely in the wrong. He basically backstabbed Messi in the back. Um, he should have dealt with the situation a lot better. But I I still I'm not calling, for example, like Laporta to be sacked or thrown away. from the club, because when we look at the work that Laporta has done so far in this period, in this secondary period as president, he's done what is best for the club. When you think about the work that him and Alemani has done, bringing in these transfers, building such a competitive squad, managing to reduce that wage bill, managing to build a competitive team, and trying to get the club back to like where it's supposed to be. They've done such a tremendous job. And Laporta basically in every action he shows how much of a Barcelona fan he is, and he would put anything and everyone. No, he would put the club above anything and everyone. That's how much of a Barca fan he is, and that's basically one of my takeaways from the whole thing. I think Laporta was extremely in the wrong. I mean, basically betrayed Messi, and this basically closed the doors on Messi returning back to the Camp Nou.
Yeah, and like we said, it's unfortunate, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. The one thing I like to say though is it is kind of go back to what you're saying and build on it. Yes, what Laporta did was wrong, and it's something that hurts me. Right, I'm not even messing it. It hurts me to know that he treated him like that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what you say is true. He has rebuilt this squad. The only reason we're competitive at all this year, I know we've been out of the Champions League and we've had our bad uh, patches, but I'm telling you, the way this team has been playing is something else. And if there's one man you gotta attribute it to, is mainly him, because the players we've signed, the economic debt that we've brought down, like we've reduced it. Not all, obviously not all the way down to a comfortable level, but to a more bearable level, right? We're
Mhm.
not out here like struggling to make the revenue we need. But like I said, we make mistakes. We live and we learn, and I'm sure that's something that will bother Laporta later on as well.
Mhm.
But I think either way, Messi's time at Barca was gonna come to an end one way or another, and this wasn't the way I wanted it to see it. I wanted to see it
No.
winning the Champions League once again, and with him getting a proper farewell like Piqué did. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. Hopefully, we can see this before Messi retires. Maybe not formally by playing the team, but like a little exhibition match or something along those lines. So,
Yeah, it's going to be very hard for Messi to say goodbye and get the farewell that he deserves from a full Camp Nou, chanting his name, saying Messi, Messi,
We'll
and
see
giving
though.
him the proper way. No,
We'll see.
well, the relationship between Laporta and Messi has been completely broken down, and I think it's almost impossible for Messi to come back. It's going to be very, very difficult. But guys, now moving on to our final topic of the discussion, we're going to be talking about tomorrow's game against Osasuna. So Real Madrid dropped points today against Rayo Vallecano. They lost 3-2, which is a huge win for Barcelona.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I had class, and when I got out and I saw a score, because I'm going through Twitter and I see Barca up by 2 points. And I'm like, oh yeah, no
Yeah.
shit, they were up by 2 points after yesterday's win. And I see the amount of matches that Madrid play. I was like, did they just lose to that way?
Yeah, bro. No, Rayo Vallecano has been amazing this season. When you think about how they got points off of Atletico Madrid, Barcelona, and Real, and like a couple others, they've been like
Yo,
a giant slayer so far.
and tomorrow's gonna be very important because we know how well Osasuna has been playing. They have been extremely.
They've been playing
No
very
one saw this coming. No one saw, but they've been playing it. People have no idea how important it is to head into this break, into this international break with a win. I mean,
exactly.
like, not with a win, but winning La Liga, even if it's
yeah.
by 1 point.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
No, and that's the thing. Like we have been gifted this. We've said it before how good Rayo Vallecano has been and how tough of a team they are to play against, but we've been gifted this. This doesn't come often, especially against Madrid in the league. We gotta take full advantage of this and win. It doesn't
I
matter if it's 1-0, 2-1 in the last
exactly.
minute. We need to win.
I don't care what they have to do. If they have to pay the rest, if they have to do anything, get the win. Get the win tomorrow. I don't care how you do it. Get the win because we need to go. We need to put as much pressure on because Real Madrid are going to be playing against Cadiz. This is a team that's going to be playing a very low block, and who knows? Imagine if Real Madrid drop points again. So we need to take a full advantage of this and like go for the
and
win.
look, let's think about it. Let's say that we win tomorrow, and with every matchup, like from now to the break, Madrid keeps up, and we have a 2 point lead before the break or
Yeah,
at the break. That forces Madrid. That shows Madrid that not even a tie ties them up with us.
Yeah.
So at that point, all they can do is win from that point.
Yeah.
And we'll see how injured both teams come back from the World Cup. So that's what I'm saying. It was incredibly important to head into the break winning. So
Yeah, I completely agree. So guys, quick lineups from each of you. Well, what are your predicted lineups for tomorrow's game?
Tomorrow's a big game, so I'm gonna say Ter Stegen, Balde.
yo, Ter Stegen, no, that Iñaki Peña's not starting, bro. This guy died.
Yeah.
Ter Stegen, Balde. Conde is available, right?
I don't know. I don't know. Let me see the squad list to see if Kunde is available. Would you guys want to see PK playing, or would you want to see just because like
He had his farewell. He had his farewell.
He didn't really had a terrible game against Almeida.
Yeah, but Almeida's Almeida.
But I think he can come
Almeria.
off the bench. He can come off the bench. He's good.
Yeah. So unfortunately, there is no Kunde, and that's a huge blow for us.
I say we play Eric Garcia, Christensen, and then for right back we play Bellerin and hope for the best.
I would actually like
unless you're willing to take the risk and play Jordi Alba left back and right back.
I feel like tomorrow's gonna be Bellerin for the simple fact that remember that it's been 2 days since like our previous match. I don't see Alonso starting at center back again. I don't see it. I feel like Eric Garcia is gonna get the start to give Alonso a rest. I think Christensen starts on at each end. Jordi Alba or Balde are gonna have to play back-to-back games. Now, back-to-back games, you know what I mean? I mean, like within 2 days. One is gonna have to do it. I feel like they do it with Balde because Balde is the younger, more physically gifted player. I think they have to give Bellerin the right back. They see him, or I don't know if they play Balde like back-to-back games at right back. I'm not sure. I feel like they should start Bellerin at right back, and then in the midfield do. I mean, I don't know if they want to do again Pedri, Gavi, De Jong, and Busquets. I doubt they start Busquets after him starting against Almeria. I feel it's gonna be Frankie, Gavi, Pedri, and then at the attack, probably Lewa, Rafinha, and Ansu. I'm saying Rafinha because Dembele playing. It's hard. It's hard to see.
I would say for my midfield, Pedri, Gavi, Frankie, and up top, I would play Rafinha, Lewa, and Ferran.
I would actually go for that lineup in that midfield. Just the thing is, I believe that Xavi's going to start Ousmane Dembele no matter what. No matter if Rafinha or Ferran Torres give a 10 out of 10 hat trick in both games, Ousmane Dembele is starting.
That's the thing. I'm not sure if he's going to start him after him playing against Almeria. I hate predicting the lineup for these games that they've just had 2 days to rest. Because I mean, we don't know who's still gassed from last game. We don't know who might be a little injured. We don't know anything. So
yeah. Okay. Before we round off, match predictions from you guys.
3-0
3-0 away from home. Okay. I don't know.
You go first.
I'm gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna go with a 2-0 win. Another clean sheet for us.
Yeah, I was looking at the standings right now.
Okay.
Yo, Osasuna actually playing.
I mean, no. Osasuna has been playing very well. I believe they're fifth, right?
They're 1 point off Atletico Madrid and Betis. That's hilarious. Man.
Yeah, they've been on fire this season.
I'm gonna say. You said 2-0.
Yeah, I said 2-0.
I'm either gonna say 2-0 or 3-1.
Okay. Well,
boys, girls, I already got a prediction right last time.
All that matters is that we get the win. That's all that matters. But guys, that was it for tonight's episode. We gave our thoughts on multiple topics. As always, I post a link on Twitter if anyone wants to join. It's at Kool-Aid Podcast 10. If anyone wants to join, you're always welcome to and discuss with us. As always, like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you guys all on the next episode.